What's up, everybody? I've got good news. The goal has been completed. 1,101 pull-ups. And if you're chasing a goal right now, I need you to listen up. At the beginning of the year, I set one of those, why would you ever do that type of goals? 1,000 pull-ups in less than 2 hours. And why? Because I believe in setting hard targets, things that stretch you beyond your comfort zone. And this one was one of mine. Back in January, I started small. 40 to 50 pull-ups per workout. And then I added 10 per week, and then 50, and then 100. My plan was to finish the challenge on my birthday on April 3rd. But then life happened. And on March 23rd, my final big prep session, I cranked out 801 pull-ups. Midway through, everything was hurting. And in a moment of desperation, I dipped my arms into the ice bath in between sets. That was a bad move because when I went back to the bar, I felt a tingling. And then a pop. The next morning, I couldn't grip a thing. And then a doctor's visit later, I found out that I had a torn flexor tendon in my forearm and I couldn't lift anything for 6 to 8 weeks. I was crushed. I had been staring down this goal for months and it slipped right through my fingertips, literally. Instead of quitting, I pivoted. I kept training where I could and I kept chasing other goals. And then 7 weeks later, I did 1 shaky pull-up. And then I did 2. And then I did 10. And then I did hundreds. And the next thing I knew, I was doing thousands of pull-ups a week and I was still chasing that dream. Every day I looked at the 801 that was still written on my whiteboard from my failed attempt. It haunted me, but it also fueled me. So last Friday, I tried again. And I'm proud to say that the goal has been completed. 1,101 pull-ups in 1 hour and 59 minutes. And after the final pull-up, I quoted Truett Haynes and said, I thought that was supposed to be hard. But here's the real reason that I'm sharing this with you guys. You see, pull-ups were just the surface, and it was never about the pull-ups. This was about growth. It was about discipline. It was about consistency and effort. It was about what it takes to hit a goal that seems out of reach. And what I've learned? It also applies to business. It applies to fitness. It applies to parenting. It applies to all of it. So I'd like to take a moment to share the mindset that helped me get here. And it's the same one that I use in my business coaching practice and the same one that I use in life. Because once you see it in one aspect of life, you can apply it to all aspects of life. And I call it the 4 P's of endurance. The first P is purpose. This is your fuel. It's the reason that you show up when nobody's watching. It's the reason that you hit the reps at 4 a.m. or at 10 p.m. when your body's telling you to quit. And for me, that purpose was simple. It was, don't suck. That phrase has lived rent-free in my head ever since I made it through a military selection process on talent alone. I got told straight to my face at the board, hey kid, you're talented, but you suck. And I wasn't prepared to hear that, but deep down I knew it was true. And I never wanted to feel that again. And now I've got 2 kids and they're watching everything I do and I've got to be the example for them. So I came up with this simple equation to remind myself how to not suck. And that's talent plus effort plus purpose equals not sucking. The next P is preparation. You can't wing it to 1,000 pull-ups. You have to train. You have to condition your body. You have to harden your hands. You have to figure out how to eat in between sets, how to breathe, how to suffer. This is the unglamorous part. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the dark miles that nobody sees. I keep a quote on my board right here in the gym, and it says, embrace the dark miles. And this isn't just about running. It's about doing hard things when nobody's watching. It's the silent reps that nobody sees. Anyone can perform when it's easy. But show me the person who chooses to do another rep when they're tired or exhausted. Show me the person that chooses to run another mile when everything in them is telling them to quit. And I'll show you a winner. The third P, pace. You can't muscle your way through it. If you go too fast, you're gonna burn. You go too slow, you're gonna run out of time. I learned through trial and error what my pace was. And that was 5 pull-ups with a 20-second rest. And I did that over and over and over and over again. That rhythm made it sustainable, repeatable, and predictable. And the same goes with life or business. You have to find the maximum pace that you can sustain, and then you stick to it, and then you sustain. Life or business is not about how much you can get done right now, rather how much you can get done over a lifetime. So remember, discipline over ego and consistency over chaos. The final P, perseverance. This is the real difference maker, because at some point you're gonna hurt and you're gonna suck and you're gonna feel like you wanna quit. You'll hear that little voice in your head that says, you're not good enough. Just stop. Why are you even doing this? Nobody's watching. But you know what? You don't stop. And you don't stop because you've been here before. There are hills and valleys in every part of life. When you know that they're coming, you can sharpen the tools that you have to deal with them. You remind yourself of why you started. You remind yourself of the things that you've done before. You acknowledge the pain and you keep moving anyway. If you stay the course, those hills and valleys will always pass. So my final thoughts, if you're running a business, chasing a goal, or just trying to improve your life, this message is for you. Find your purpose, build your plan, stick to the pace, and refuse to quit, because that's where growth lives. It's not in the outcome, but in what you have to overcome.